Missy Bauer with B&M Crop Consulting. We're out here in the field this morning to evaluate yet again more frost damage in beans. So this is our third pretty major event that we had. We had one back in April there, 21st and 22nd. It was very cold temperatures, but there wasn't a lot of beans up at that point. They were pretty hardy and we came through it pretty good. Then we had the event just after Mother's Day, the May 10th through the 13th, where we had 4 nights in a row around 30, 32. So not real cold temps, but those consecutive nights really seemed to have a bad effect. We had a lot of damage then. Now we're out here for the third time. So on May 30th, Sunday of the holiday weekend here, we had a fair amount of frost damage. Not super cold temps, but enough to give us some damage out there. So you need to get back out into your bean fields and reevaluate. What we want to know is what are your total good stands that are still out here, and count in your hoop or in road beans, 20-inch, 30-inch beans, use a yardstick and know how many plants per acre that we have are good and viable. So what's good and viable? We'll take a look here. It's pretty easy at this point to pick out the dead ones here. We are here a few days after the frost damage. You can see this one's totally dead. I got these examples here of ones that are dead. So you can see where the cotyledons are, it was dead. The main growing, or the 2 growing points there are dead. The main one's dead, so there's no question all these beans are going to be not in our count because they're dead. Then we're going to have some beans that are like this. So you can see the main growing point died, the unifoliates died, but down in here at the cotyledons are still green, and you can see I got some new regrowth happening there. See it on this one as well. Again, burnt this off, but you can see a nice regrowth coming in here by the cotyledons. So at this point, if you're going to have regrowth, it's going to be starting to show up because we're enough days after that frost damage. You take one like this here where we froze off the unifoliates, the main growing point, this cotyledon. This other cotyledon does have some green yet on it, but you look in there, it's pretty debatable if this is going to actually survive or not. And then we want to actually feel what that turgor pressure is underneath those cotyledons. This one's starting to feel a little weak, so I'm probably just going to, at this point, not count this one. You know, he may end up making it, but he's going to be pretty questionable. And I want to know what I have for good solid counts out here. So do some evaluations, figure out what's your total population at this point. We got a good solid 70, 80,000 population. We're going to be leaving the stand here as we're at the beginning of June now. But it's got to be consistent. If you got holes that are all gone, then you might have to go in and replant those areas because you got to think about that weed control issue. The other thing to keep in mind is stresses. So right now these beans are under stress. We're trying to recover from stress. The last thing we wanted to do right now is go out and add more stress. So if you're going out with your post-emergence herbicides, let's just wait. Get about 100, 120 heat units go by before we go ahead and start applying those again. Rolling, lots of rollers run, especially in the southern part of Michigan. Now this particular field we're too small for rolling anyways, we're only in unifoliate stage. But if your beans are out here in your first trifoliate that we have right here, if these are all opened up, so we're at that V1 grow stage, or 2 trifoliates are there, that's that timing for rolling. But again, if you go out here and you've got frost damage, you're recovering from that, again, I would hold off on that rolling. See if you can still get it in prior to that V3. We don't want to get that late, but we don't want to add more stress currently to these beans. So get out, do some counts, and evaluate where you're at. As always, make sure you check our Twitter, Facebook, and our website for more information.